I do it, son.
We done. We're live. I think we're live.
We think we're
Hello.
live.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Evening, y'all. What's up, gentlemen?
Howdy, folk. Howdy.
Ladies, if there's any here, which I doubt,
Well, when they hear that I'm on, then they're gonna flock.
that will bring all the girls to the yard. That's
I'm like cat.
right.
I'm like catnip. You know what I'm saying?
Catnip for the babes. Yeah.
Right.
The grandma crowd's going to get on their walkers and come running down to the day room.
Right. Something along those lines.
Oh, Lord.
So what's going on, man?
Well, been busy this week. A lot of YouTube stuff going on with us. A lot of antennas going on.
I'm
We
telling
have
you.
been pushing out. We've been pushing out Apollo antennas pretty
We,
handily.
we've been sending out so many antennas. We sent somebody too by accident.
We we did. Like, whoops! Chuck was so excited. I gotta box these up. I gotta box these up. Chuck is like our worker troll.
Yeah.
Ape and To are senior management. They just make decisions, call the shots. I'm the tech support side, in the background, and then
Yeah. Chuck is definitely doing the work this time around. That's for sure.
Charles is the warehouse guy.
He's
He's
shipping
throwing
department
antennas.
and the warehouse
That's
department all
right.
wrapped
That's
up in
right.
one.
Hey, Thump. What's up, buddy? Cesar, good evening.
Hello, everybody. So I did a video today, and I put it out there, and it was about this. I ordered this battery, this Ampere Time battery. It's a 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery, and it was like 75, $72, something like that, on Amazon.
That's
It
a
has
good
these
price.
F2 connectors on here, so I wanted to just make an adapter cable to Anderson Power Pole, because Anderson Power Pole is everything that I have in all my stuff, right? It's all Anderson
Right.
Power Poles.
Yeah.
And you get the usual stuff. Somebody like, dang on it, boy, you didn't put a fuse in there. Valid, right? But this isn't a cable that I'm going to run directly to something. So like all my radios have fused cables, and then like
Yeah.
this is a cable that I have that's like 6 feet long that plugs into my power distribution block over the other side of the room. But it's fused, and then power
Right.
distribution block, every single option there is fused, and then all the cables that go to the radio are fused. So it's like, you know, come on, man, cut me a break, damn it. And the other one is that so the battery has overcharge and it has undercharge protection as well as overcurrent protection. So I don't know what that means. I'm not that smart, but I think that means I don't need a fuse. And I
See,
was
I
like,
don't.
that can't not have a fuse, boy. So I
I,
don't know.
I'm not going to judge you on a fuse because I don't ground stuff very well, especially portable. Me and To were talking about that today. But see, the BMS is going to have some protection, but I don't know how much. Right? How much can I taunt it before it thwarts me?
Well, the other one is that Jeff says he refuses to join the power pole cult. So then there's one of those guys that was like, son,
Probably an
don't you know no
XT60
better? The
lover.
XT is a more better something or other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay, I admit it, but it's not what everything has. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
I heard the picture on Betamax was effing great. You know what I mean? But
HD DVD, man, it was way better than that Blu-ray garbage.
right. So I'm like, man, cut me a break, son.
I was on the right side of VHS and Betamax. I was on the wrong side of the Blu-ray discussion.
I don't even know, man. Blu-rays around, right? That's what everybody watches now. I have
I
no
guess I
idea.
hadn't bought one in forever because I watch them all online.
Right.
I mean, I stream them, so why would I? I don't
I'm
know.
right
I
there with
guess
you.
I do video. I mean, well, those Redbox things. So I guess people still rent physical discs if they don't have internet or something. I don't
Here
know.
we go. A little Liberty Cave action in there. He says he doesn't like power poles. I don't like them either. To be honest with you, I don't. And his radios come with Molex. So mine will have a Molex connector, but every radio that I bought has bare ends. You know what I mean? Where you hook it up to
Right?
your actual power
Yeah.
source. And that's where I go. Hey, Derek, what's up, buddy? And that's where I go with the power poles, just because it's easy, it's convenient. So
And I agree. They're not the most. What's the word I'm looking for? Robust connector
mhm.
because they will come apart. I mean, they actually, and I think I have one.
Right.
Maybe if I didn't throw it away. There it is. They actually make these little dinguses, which is some kind of little power pole locky thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have your power pole connections, and then this is designed, I guess, on real power poles, not the faux ones. And then this pins them together so they stay.
I use these rubber boots on mine.
I don't.
And the only reason I use these is because not everybody does, and then I can act like I'm better.
Right. I
I'm
don't
like,
use
well,
them because I don't
rubber
usually
boot.
remember them till after I've done the cable, and then I'm like, well,
They ain't going on. They ain't going on
Crap.
after you do that.
crap.
And I bought this like a couple years ago, and it drives me insane that it doesn't have. I don't have rubber boots on it.
Mine don't have it.
Like I feel so dirty when I use it.
Did it come with power poles, or did you put them on?
It did.
I think mine came with bare naked wire.
I ordered them with power poles, thinking I was, thinking it was the move. This is official PowerWorks, 45 amps.
Oh,
So
mine
now-
is.
So now what?
Mine
got
is
the
Honest
Tenergy.
Chen's house.
Right.
Honest Chen's House of Fish Market and Power Dingus.
Ryan says you always got to use protection. You don't know where this equipment's been.
That's right. I mean, how many dirty hams touch that? So Ron said power poles on a dipole, and I would agree on that link dipole. That'd be the way to go. Absolutely.
Well, and I think it was MRD did his ground radials all with power
Mhm.
pole connectors. So
Yep.
just snap them on real quick. So I thought that was a pretty clever idea as well.
And I've thought about that. My radials, like on my DX Commander,
Chuck, you do have a link to come in here, don't you?
he does. All he's got to do is go to our account, and it's in there, the same as it is every week. Charles,
He's waiting for you to show up at his house riding a white steed, long cape. Hand him a piece of paper with it on there.
you are welcome. We are cordially invited. Your presence is
shooter.
requested. So I was thinking about using them on the radials on my DX Commander because those stupid things always want to pull off every time you look at the wire, where it's just a wing nut that holds it on there.
Mhm.
Because it's the spade, the U-shaped spade lugs that are on the wire bundles for the radials. That's what Callum sends.
Right.
And then there's wing nuts that are mounted up through the
You mean
ground
like
radio
like
plate.
this, right? Like these.
Yes,
things.
those things, big ones, but those things, not small like yours. And
Hey, mine. It's not the size, but it's how you use it.
and the damn things always come loose. I mean, I swear to God, nobody goes back there. And every time I go back there to check on it, the sumbitches are all loose. I'm like, how are you off? There's a radio laying on the ground, not connected to anything. So I want to put something else on there, but I'm afraid power poles would just kind of work themselves apart too.
We have a guy that does the lawn, and my radio was acting weird. I'm like, what's wrong with this dang old thing? So I go out there and I see my counterpoise have been mowed over. And the thing is, I come in, I was like, look, I'm not mad, but so-and-so ran over the counterpoise wire. And Molly's like, he is a nice man. You shouldn't, starts giving me all this grief like it's my fault. And I'm like, I honestly don't care that he hit the counterpoise wire. I have a whole bag of counterpoise wires. It'll take me 2 seconds to put another one on there. I just want to know. You know what I mean? Because when I saw stuff not acting the way it's supposed to, I go down the problem is I start troubleshooting from the most difficult thing first. You know what I mean? It must be the coaxial cable connector. So, you know what I mean? And I start going down the whole rabbit hole. I was just like, if somebody just told me, hey, sorry, bro, I hit the wire, then I would be fine. Look at this.
See, mine is like, I don't want to troubleshoot it from outside if I can help it.
Howdy, Phil. How you doing, bud? Yeah,
Phil, good
right.
evening. Heavy metal.
Heavy metal ham
Heavy
radio.
metal.
Talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do the trouble. Joe Brett, K5, YVY. What's up, buddy?
I see YVY in there. He's taking some
YVY.
liberties making fun of me over in the Discord server.
Oh, what
Good
is
for
he
him.
now? Talking
Doing a
about
good
your
job.
redneck.
In the video today, I put on my seeing apparatus, and he
Oh, yeah.
did a screen grab, got me.
Yes, he did. That's right. I saw that. That was great. I got that same one, but I'm never going to be around a camera when I'm wearing it. That's a fact.
They work really well. I mean, the thing is like I used to use the readers, but now I should take that into work with me when I go, so I can.
Son, I bought the 2.5 readers from Amazon.
Well, these I think go all the way up to 4 or something like that. But I got to tell you, man, somebody's going to
Joe Brett, get it.
again, right?
There it
But
is, Joe Brett.
But these things work fantastically. I was like, I should take these things to work, boy.
Hey,
Oh my
hey,
Lord, the
what
chat
are,
just
what are
blew
the
up. All
lottery
the
numbers
women
for
are here.
tomorrow?
Ooh, those are uglier than
Hey,
Air
Ed.
Force birth control glasses.
Hey, Derek.
Good grief. Well, let me do some shout outs here tonight. This is FEP Labs. I don't know if this is going to be a regular weekly stream. I'm going to try it for a while. We'll see how it works out. And I invited a few random people off the street to show up, and they did. Tonight we're going to talk about digital HTs, digital radio, digital voice, whatever your questions are, that kind of stuff. So thanks for coming by. Sam Weaver, Marvin is here. Thump is here.
Whoa! You got to make them put a certain code in the chat.
Okay, oh yeah, I forgot the right way to do it. Drop
Lord.
a 1 in the chat if you want to shout out.
A 1.
A 1.
And a 2.
A 1.
No, just a 1.
Just a 1.
Jim
And
wants a
if you
shout
drop
out.
yeah.
Say
Hey,
hi to
me.
Jim.
Woo woo. Shooter's here. Ron is here. W4RH. Ape is here. LC, you're here. Jeff, good evening. Don, Marvin Dreesen, the other Andy is here. The other Chuck is here. KB8YIT. Cesar Omar Posada Garcia Sata Music. I probably said some of that wrong. Is here. Good evening, my friend. Phil is here. Ed Sweeney is here. Sam is here. K5YVY is up in the chat. Chuck Schultz, good evening. W9TSB Heavy Metal, the Thumpster. Coffee and Ham Radios representing right here,
Awesome.
all around. Raphael, Type of 1.
My so I sent a picture that Joe Brett did of me to my old lady, and she's like, "Who did this picture?" And it's like Joe Brett. She's like, "Oh, haha, it's very funny." I'm like, "Well, hold on a second. Would you have been upset if it was somebody else that did it?" But
If I did
Joe-
it, she'd be calling me on the phone.
right, I was like,
Right.
"Officer Joe did it." Now all of a sudden, it's funny.
It is funny. Hey, Raphael, we did shout outs. You had to put a
Officer
1 in the
Joe.
chat to get a shout out.
Officer
OJ.
Joe.
The OJ, Officer Joe. So let's talk about digital radio.
Let's do it,
Digital
son.
voice. Digital voice. And a little bit of housekeeping. If you don't know, you've been living under a rock. We've all tweeted about it, and we've mentioned it, I think, on a couple other streams. The Cartena Apollo is released. It's some of Chuck's best work ever. It is on
And the rest of us?
barefootguys.com.
What's that?
And the rest of us.
And the
Look at
rest
this
of
thing.
us.
Look at this thing. Oh,
It is
Look.
beautiful.
it's all rounded over and sleek and sexy. And look at that swoopy curve on the BNC holder.
It's interesting.
Froze
You
up
froze
again.
right when you were swooping.
It's
Yeah.
it's hotter than devil's balls.
That's right. And Steve was touching it.
I actually just
Ooh.
I just put 11 more together. More kits. Well, yeah, 11 more kits together today.
And yeah, that's right. We launched before SpaceX, baby.
Hey, look, SpaceX ain't going to launch because guess what ain't going to happen? Going to the moon because it didn't happen before. So
There ain't
I
no
wouldn't be
moon.
holding my breath. I wouldn't be holding my breath for
Oh
it.
man.
Don
Oh,
wants the
man.
hex beam too. He wants them all. The Moxon, the hex beam.
Oh,
We need-
Richard is here. K6RDJ. Good evening, Richard.
Speaking of there ain't no moon, we got to get Fran Blanche on the show. She'd have a blast
Yes,
talking
we
to
do.
us.
She is.
Well, the thing is
she's
that
pretty cool.
whether there's a moon or not, it's my right as an American to not believe,
Yes.
and I have the right for you to accept that.
My
Hey, I'm-
adjectives
I'm
are
dug
handsome
in.
and brilliant.
Oh my God, this is
I'm
going
dug
off
in
the
and I'm
rails
not
already.
giving up. I know my rights.
You can use no other adjectives to describe me besides handsome and brilliant, or you will offend me.
Good grief. So we have the
Amen,
Cartena
Liberty.
Apollo. Would
Amen.
one of y'all kind gentlemen drop a link for that in the chat to the correct URL? And
I have a hard
the
time finding it.
is very important. I'm just
Yes,
saying.
it is.
Is it? I didn't
Even
know
if
it
you-
was.
Even
Yes.
if you put it in, it's
Right, Joe Brett?
the other stuff still comes up.
Hey, Jim, thanks for putting that link in the chat.
Thank you, me.
Thanks, Jim.
So Chuck, how many of these have we sold in the last week since
Like
we turned
20
it
or
on?
something like that. We had
20-ish.
what
Yeah.
did we have? 32 to start with,
Yeah.
or something like that. 30
Yeah,
or
so-
40 to start with.
The Barefoot guys was an homage to the QRP guys. We were going to let them. We're graciously giving them the space of QRP. No, we are respecting the fact that they are dominating that space of QRP, and
Right.
so a nod of the hat to them for being the QRP guys. We decided to be the Barefoot guys because all of our antennas are going to be 100 watts or better.
Oh, they
Except
are.
for the ones that
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that we
Chuck
could
didn't get the memo?
offer. I didn't. Well, I've been meaning to ask you guys something. I was.
He used the cheap Toroids again.
It's in the name,
No,
Chuck. It's
no,
the Barefoot
no.
guys.
Derek,
Well, you
there's
can-
not
you
a
can
car
baref-
T-shirt yet.
There will
there
be. You
was.
There, we had
and
it
we're working
going. We
with
never got it
somebody.
going though.
Right.
oh, we got
have
a we got a Toads T-shirt also.
We do.
Yeah.
So
That you can't buy anywhere, right?
Right.
Not yet. We're waiting on our IT expert from Kaneki.
Your IT expert needs artwork to put on the website and the price, and that's
It's
all
in
I
the
got
logo.
do.
It's in the logo folder, son.
Chuck, Daddy, and Daddy are fighting again.
I know you can't get a word in when they fight.
Oh my
Hey,
lord!
you know, I was wondering, and maybe we can ask it here. If people were, do you guys remember my little?
No.
Yeah, I remember your
No,
little.
your wife does.
Do you
but we
remember?
don't.
Do you remember my QRP antenna I did on the
Yes, the binding post. Yep.
the binding post? We could offer that if people were interested in that as a kit. Also, it'd be super easy to put together.
It would be, but we can't. It goes against the whole plan, Chuck.
Yeah.
Well,
we
we're gonna
can't
make
use-
it. We can make it a 20 watter.
It's not part of our brand, dude.
So it's not. I mean, whatever.
21 watts.
If we can get these,
21
in,
watts.
maybe if you double them up.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
I can get 50 watts. I got 50 watts out of my double toroid one.
Bare
There you go.
foot.
Close enough.
Barefoot.
So,
Well, barefoot means
and
no
we also
amp.
did we also do
Right.
a URL, Steve?
So
I
if you have
thought
a
we did. I
QRP
can't remember it
radio
right
with
now.
no amp, that's
Let me take a look.
barefoot.
Did we do coffeeandhamradios.com or something like
Yes,
that?
coffeeandhamradios.com works. And it says, welcome to the Barefoot Guys when you get there.
Yeah.
Or you can go to
because
coffeeandhamradios.square.site because we use Square Site. Only the best for you folks.
right. Coffeeandhamradios.com will also work, but if you use the Barefoot Guys, the is super important.
Super.
Super important.
Because apparently it's some kind of fetish, which is totally okay. And I accept that people like
Not
that kind of
judging,
thing.
man. Not judging.
You do you,
Yeah.
boo.
Right.
I have never
right.
gone to that site, so I don't know what what you people are talking.
No, we
about.
got complaints, which is why we emphasize the.
Right. Yeah, we do not
Sure,
personally
that
have
hurts
any
to be
knowledge
Would,
of
would
it.
they tell you didn't put a fuse in it?
Andy.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So the other thing I wanted to mention is we have on my channel now we have super chats available and memberships and all that good YouTube stuff. So if you feel like throwing the channel some love, I appreciate it. We'll dance for money. If you throw us enough super chats, Ape will keep his shirt on. Otherwise,
Right,
I
comes
cannot
He
be
needs some
responsible
milk. He needs
for
some
what's going to happen, especially if your wives see Ape shirtless. I mean,
We
Yeah,
can't
I mean,
handle that.
They get whipped up into a fever quick.
that's right. And you may not be able to handle it afterwards because they'll be like, you're not the smoking ape. You need to move on. So digital radio, what are digital voice, digital radio? I'm going to use those two things interchangeably. What's your favorite mode? What do you like? D-Star Fusion, DMR, E25, and
All Star. All Star's not technically digital.
What I'll tell you is that to me, System Fusion sounds the best. But there's a reason. There's a technical, scientific reason for that.
Because it doesn't use the ambi decoder.
No, because it's 25K wide, right? And the thing is like I'm like 99% sure that's right. And then I like DMR though. Like I like the openness of DMR and being able to buy different pieces of equipment, not from a particular manufacturer, to use it.
Chuck is doing us dirty right now.
I got to tell you, man, he does. He's got more shirts than anybody that I've ever heard. He has a few shirts.
No, I was talking about this. Chuck's doing
He
us
wasn't
dirty
talking
right now.
about that.
Chuck is trying to undermine our brand.
No, I was talking about Liberty Cage.
No.
Him too.
He's
Look
got. How
at-
many does Liberty have?
3?
Liberty said I was right. And Liberty is right.
A
That I'm
full
right.
Well,
tank of
the thing
diesel.
is that so there's a million arguments about what is QRP, QRO, and barefoot. Generally accepted that barefoot means 100 watts, but
Yeah.
technically
Tell you the truth, barefoot
means,
and CB means 4
Yeah, but we ain't
watts.
talking CB, Playboy.
It don't
This is
matter.
not CB.
It's
the thing-
barefoot.
But I agree with you. If you let me finish, I agree.
Oh.
Barefoot means no
There's
amplification.
one.
But I dare you to find a radio that's not a homebrew kit that has an exciter and doesn't have a amplifier inside the radio.
Oh, he said exciter.
He did.
No.
I'm
I like
excited
to speak
about that.
technical terms. But yeah, barefoot means no amp, technically.
Mm-hmm.
But the same thing is that so like when I'm like, well, my Baofeng's my favorite QRP radio. Everybody's got to be like, well, it's not HF. But the thing is that QRP means 5 watts or less, right?
To my
think they-
understanding, yeah, absolutely.
I think that with the bands being bad, they raised it to 10.
Hey, Dusty,
Unofficially.
Who's they?
welcome.
So Phil is
Hey.
saying that he likes DMR because he doesn't want to be locked into a single manufacturer. So Kenwood and Icom both do D-Star. Everybody does DMR. Does
Right.
anybody besides Yaesu do Fusion?
Nope,
No.
There you go.
no.
Well, I
And-
think you
and
can,
these-
right?
I'm not sure about Fusion, Chuck.
I think
That's a
you
good
can
point.
use. I think you can, but I don't know. how to do
D-Star
it.
you can. The problem with D-Star, JARL invented D-Star. Geez, like it's been a while.
The Japanese Amateur Radio League.
Yeah, JARL. And D-Star is an open standard. But I think the way ICOM implements it with the Ambi chip, there's a license that has to be paid to Ambi because they're using the Ambi vocoder.
Well, they all use the MB vocoder.
But then, no, I don't know. There's something with the licensing. D-Star is open source, available, open standard kind of thing. But something with the way it's implemented in ICOM and Kenwood.
You have to pay somebody something around.
Yeah, I think so. Which
It's
you
probably
don't
the
with
word
DMR.
D-Star.
And DMR is an open standard developed by ETSI, the European Telecommunications Standards Institute, or something like that.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm not using it. I don't want that European protocol.
It is Euro stuff, man.
Europe
I'm
is
just
fake.
saying.
Right.
And then Fusion is a Yaesu baby. But it's also real similar to P25 and NXDN and DMR. They're all real close together. They're almost identical. There's very few technical differences between those 4 modes. The difference is that the DMR implementation was created for business use, and that's why it's so freaking complicated. Fusion, NXDN, P25, not so much. Fusion especially.
But if you have the right radio from Yaesu, you can do 10 meter digital also. And other
Can't
bands,
you do
I
higher
guess.
than that, though? Can you do 20
I
meter
think you
digital?
can. I think you
Yes.
can, but I don't know the legality part of it. It has to be something that has repeat. I think Don mentioned this once before, but I know you can do 10. There's nets around well all over the United States of guys that have, and the only real radio you can do it is a 991 that I know.
Yeah, I
of.
was going to
as
say the
far as-
991A will do it.
HF wise.
It was
and
on, it was on
C4
10
FM,
meters,
yeah.
Chuck. It was on 10 meters.
I know
'cause
you can do
there's
10.
Yeah.
I
I
know
don't
what the-
remember that I knew about any other
I even asked
specific thing.
I even asked John Kruk about it, and he wasn't super sure about when you can, where you can and can't use it. Had
People
something
were
to do
doing
with repeaters, I
D-Star
think.
on HF with the 705.
Yes.
Were they?
Mm-hmm.
So it might
Yep.
do it too. Yeah.
I mean, unless there's a legal thing, there's no reason it can't. As long as the radio tuned to that frequency, just because the frequency changes doesn't mean the protocol won't work.
People would go nuts, though, because you're taking up too much bandwidth.
It
right?
is a lot more. 3K for sideband, and then for your digital modes, you're looking at 12.5K usually. So Heavy Metal's got a question. What's the difference between D-Star Wires X without getting into the weeds too much? Fusion is Wires X. It uses C4 FM or Fusion. Those things are interchangeable. D-Star uses D-Star. So there's no way to talk about this without getting in the weeds, and I'm not going to do that. If you want to use D-Star, you're going to buy an ICOM or a Kenwood radio. Full stop. If you're going to use Fusion or Wires X, which is a way to connect to Fusion systems, you're going to buy Yaesu. Full stop. That's the answer. Wires X is a way of hooking your Yaesu radio with an adapter gadget together to create your own Wires X room. I don't have one. I think I know somebody who has one. He was all about it for a while. I don't know if he outgrew it yet or not.
The
But that's
SEU
wires-
LAN 10 thing?
Yeah. No, well, I think that too, but that HRI 200 gadget.
Okay, yeah.
And
Well-
a lot of people were using, what's the FT 100D, an older Yaesu model, as their radio to tie to Wires X. Because whatever radio you're going to hook up to the HRI,
The node.
the node, that's where it stay at. You can't use it for no other stuff.
Well, I think so. First off, I'm not a Yaesu expert, but I identify as one, and that's very important. Well,
What's your dog's
And-
name, Chuck?
but the thing is that so there's a difference between Wires X and System Fusion, and so I think that might be the first part of the conversation. Wires X is an analog mode. It's FM analog. It's not a digital mode like System Fusion. So the thing is that narrowband FM is what business users used for many years, and there's a requirement that they can only use 12.5 kilohertz of bandwidth because they were running out of spectrum. And then with the advent of digital modes, they wanted to shrink that down to 6.25 and use even less bandwidth. So there were a couple of different ways that they did that. With DMR, they skirt the rule by using half the bandwidth because of time division multiple access, right? So they'll blast for 30 milliseconds, and then time slot 2 comes on for 30 milliseconds, and time slot 1 comes on for 30 milliseconds. So technically, they're only using half the bandwidth because they're using it in a segmented fashion.
Half the time.
Now, it's my understanding that System Fusion still uses all 12.5 kilohertz of spectrum, but they divide the data stream from the analog stream. Each one of those
Yes,
is using
they do.
6.5 or 6.25 kilohertz of spectrum. That's
Well-
probably the biggest difference in the implementation.
Then you also have on Fusion side, you also have wide digital and narrow digital. I think what Fusion calls, what Yaesu calls DN and VW.
Yeah, well, a lot of people refer to that as simplex fusion, right? And it's I believe it's full 25 kilohertz wide.
Okay, when you're doing simplex.
I believe that's the case. Yeah.
Now, one thing you said was that wires. What did you say about Wires X?
Wires X is FM analog. It's not a digital mode.
I did not know that. What?
Are you sure?
talked about
I
it
don't-
on the
I'm
stream.
not sure about that.
I think we talked about it on the stream before, and I even Googled it and produced a link.
I Google it now and produce a link because I'm not sure, man.
Okay.
I don't know. Chuck agrees with me. We think that might be some sketch.
Well, I think you all might be a couple of MFs. How about that?
Now, I had a beer tonight, so I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
Or give me a second. Let me see.
Ape's gonna put on his glasses here in a second because that screen's gonna get tiny on him.
Well, he got the
No,
Zoom.
He got the Zoom now, and he could be right. I don't know, but as far as I knew, wires, which is the old thing, became
Oh, it says Wires X is an FM friendly digital solution.
Yeah, I thought you
Yeah,
were wrong.
keep-
I was pretty
keep
sure
going.
of it. What's weird
going.
is some of the older radios will do it though somehow. I don't understand.
Well, it says
that.
Wires X supports the C4 FM digital.
Don's getting in the weeds. Don, we'll have a whole show explaining CESSB.
Joe Brett said somewhere on here his analog Yaesus have a Wires X button.
Yeah, on the older radios.
Yeah, your FTM 400 has one, Jim.
Yes.
That is digital radio. That's a digital radio.
Yes.
But
though.
see,
Yes,
we
it
had
is.
John on here and we talked about it because, like, I can listen to Wires X enabled repeaters with a radio that's not even a Yaesu. But if they do System Fusion on there, then I hear the motorboating. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. That's right.
So
you
if I can hear the Wires X portion of that, then it's because it's analog.
I think. I don't know. I don't think that's right.
Get somebody
But
get
I-
Crook on the phone.
Chuck, get Crook.
Yeah, let me
Invoke
call
the
him.
Crook. Invoke the Crook. So, but
John, you're on stream right now.
I don't know. Ape might
I'll
be right.
call
He
him up
probably
and be
is.
like, "Hey, just so you know, this is."
Yeah. I don't want to. I'm not going to argue about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue about it.
Okay,
either, 'cause
let me
I
read
really
you what
don't
it says.
care,
It says
but-
Wires X supports the C4 FM digital and clear and the clear and crisp voice technology and enables high sound quality. By repeating C4 FM data as it is a via internet, users can enjoy clear voice communications, even if they are 1,000. I don't know. I thought that was something, but
But see, you don't have to have the C4 FM parts. What I'm getting at.
yeah.
You don't need any of those.
For
I know
example,
it's weird because I know some of the. He might
I
be
need
kind of
it.
right. You might kind of be right with that because I think one of my old radios, like
yes,
that
LC.
doesn't have digital, will actually support that too. So it has a
Right.
button for it.
Liberty's
So-
got a
Something
new
weird.
argument that he wants to start up right now. Is D-Star and DMR and Fusion and all that stuff, is it real ham radio? I mean, I know that's what he's secretly trying to ask here. Because you all go through the internets and talk to each other through these rooms and tunnels and webs of stuff.
Like your back rooms.
Exactly. So you can use these as if they were regular radios if you had somebody that was nearby or if you were doing it over HF like we had mentioned earlier in what we call simplex. When you start using like a Pi-Star hotspot or a Wires X room or something along those lines is when you're connecting your radio to the internet, which then connects to a radio on the other end of the internet and goes out over the airwaves over there. So it's radio with a spot in the middle if you connect it to the public rooms, and if you want to do simplex, you can do simplex. So if you wanted to do a soda or a Parks on the Air, you could certainly do that over simplex digital modes, no problem whatsoever.
If somebody
So-
else has a digital radio.
one last
Right.
thought to ponder about Yaesu and System Fusion. So in my truck, I have an FTM 400.
I thought you were going to say somebody tied up.
No, man.
We don't talk about it.
We talked about this before the show, Abe. No, we don't talk about that on
Don't
stream.
tell anybody.
Don't tell nobody about that. So I keep that radio tuned to the frequency for my open spot, which is laying on the desk here somewhere. So that's 433.9, whatever. When I turn on the FTM 400 and I turn on the open spot tells me immediately that it's connected to 55295, the Toads YSF room. Immediately. And I can talk to DMR and D-Star radios on my YSF, my Fusion radio in my truck without hitting the Wires X button. So that's like analog C4 FM. If I hit the Wires X button on the FTM 400, then it changes modes and does its little thing, and I can demonstrate this on my FT5 right here tonight, and it changes to digital mode. But either way, the call goes through from the Fusion. Either way. So it will do analog, but it's analog C4 FM. And if you hit the Wires X digital button,
Ain't
then
no
that turns it-
analog C4 FM.
Yes.
C4 FM is digital, son.
Steven, turn on your DMR radio there, please,
It's
sir.
just digital.
Yes, sir.
Please.
James.
I didn't mean to sound all imperative.
Chip
It's on,
chop,
James.
son. Chip chop.
KN4YCD, KM9G. Are you on the right channel? Because it don't look like it on that
I'm not
screen.
on a channel. What do you want?
Go to
You just said
Toads.
turn it on, son.
I said, turn it on, man.
Here we go. It's like playing
Hey.
cards.
Was I supposed to wear a T-shirt? I wear a
KM9G,
collared shirt.
KN4YCD.
You look good, Chuck.
Not in Wires X mode. God dang it, Cat. She skulked up here.
Yeah, she did.
KM9G, KN4YCD.
Yeah, I think my hotspot's acting up.
Yeah, that's fine. I got you. So this is not digital mode. This is analog mode on this guy right now. And then if you hit the little Wires X
Yeah.
button,
But that doesn't prove anything, dude. Because
then
if
it
you
goes
have it
into
in
the
if you
digital
have it in
mode.
the right mode, it will.
well, I ain't getting her drunk, Charles.
If it's in the right mode, it'll receive either way.
Yeah, and now it's in digital mode, and it'll again do the same thing. That's my point.
Isn't that your 5D
Yes.
or whatever it is?
Yeah.
So if you put it in the mode that it'll recognize digital or analog,
Yeah.
what are you
Yes.
proving? I don't.
Is
see
the
what you're
digital light
proving.
coming on when you get that transmission?
Well, it's coming
Yeah,
through my hotspots. The only way Steve McGrain's talking to me from Wisconsin.
But it's digital.
Oh.
The digital.
But yeah,
Yes.
that means it's digital.
Yeah. You said it wasn't.
The
said
hotspot
it's
can't
analog.
do the hotspot.
What is
can't
the
do-
difference with me pushing the button then?
But the hotspot can't do undigital.
What
Right?
you guys is what is T.O. doing?
Oh, that's me.
It's coming over.
So here's the thing: get a Fang, Fire it up
Yeah,
on the
see
same
if your
frequency
thing
and
will
then
do
see
it.
if you get it on both of them.
Well, I know I'll get the.
But that's because it's digital.
It's analog C4 FM.
Get the
It doesn't have to
Fang,
be
then.
digital to be C4 FM.
Here we go again.
Well, Fang's not going to do C4
We're
FM.
going to have to get Croc on the line.
I'm just saying. I think there's some misinformation.
We know you're from Kankakee, but I think you're wrong.
'Cause
Why
he
are you
won't
always
shut up
hating on
about it.
Kankakee, man? You always hating on Kankakee.
Yes, it's all just analog in the end.
C4M is a digital modulation.
KM9G.
See, that's because it's not digital, whatever. I mean, it's digital. It's not analog.
KN4YCD,
analog
KM9G.
C4FM. I'm apologizing. Folks in the chat, I'm sorry.
I don't know. But I know there's two differences. We need to get Crook. This is a good question. Because there's two different ways to do C4 FM on the same radio without changing frequency. And somehow my hotspot knows that
What time is it back
55295 will work regardless of whether...
That's right, Thump.
Where do you want to ask him?
You're gonna hit
gonna
him up
call
on
him right
WhatsApp.
now.
I'm gonna hit him on WhatsApp.
Oh, Lord. Whatever.
Well, while he is doing this, I had a legitimate question that I would like explained. So if I download the whole DMR contact ID database to my radio,
You'll overload your radio.
I still can't pick one of them people to do a direct call with. I have to add something called a digital contact, right? And that digital contact may be in the DMR contact ID database, but they're not in my radio as a digital contact. Who can explain the difference? Or do we need Kruk for that too?
No, we don't need Crook for that.
Here's where you're going to... The digital contact database is the same thing as your personal digital contact.
Well, you go ahead and explain it. I'll just shut up. I'll just shut up.
I'm just kidding. I want to hear.
Well, I got Joe Brett threatening to come over here and straighten me out now.
Right, he's going to give
'Cause
you a
he's
wooden
getting-
shampoo. He's
Getting all mad because I'm interfering with his bromance buddy, and I'm like, oh, "Ease up, Joe. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm questioning. Because the moon landing wasn't fake, but
No, I mean, it really happened on the fake moon landing site in Alabama.
right.
that's you guys. I've just recently added people into the, like on the 6X2, you can add them to your friends list. Jay, you have to add them in as a contact. So until you add them in the contacts, and I don't know, it's kind of stupid the way they do it, because why are they all in that digital ID list?
Wait,
Yeah,
why
they
can't I
won't-
just pick somebody out of that?
I think that database is used only for the
Incoming
radio to
lookup.
resolve who's calling you. Yep. So when KM9G calls you, it can say Steve McGrain in the frozen tundra of Wisconsin.
Hey, Abe,
Or
turn your
Jim
radio
Perry.
on and
Jim
show
Perry in
the
Mount
face of it
Doom.
to the screen, and then I'll make a call to your radio,
Okay.
and then you'll see what
Stand by.
happens.
I don't.
I was talking
well,
to Abe.
I know what it does, but I don't even know where I can turn my valve thing on. I don't know if I have another radio down here.
Lord, you ain't even got a call sign. What you doing the Baofeng?
Don't you worry about it. I'm using GMRS. I saw somebody on YouTube say
Don't
it was
you worry
okay.
about it, sweetheart. Don't you worry about it. All right, hang on.
See, what I want to know is if Chuck is really trying summoning the Kruk.
This phone just won't focus that good on that radio close.
That says Hope Hall, Alabama. He's in fine East Penlala.
Well, I tried email first, but if he don't answer the email, I'm calling him.
He's in the
answer-
bus, man.
he'll
He's
answer
in the
me.
bus.
He'll
Chuck
answer me.
actually has a spotlight that shines a Yesu logo.
So
in
that
the
is
sky.
what
In the sky above his house.
heavy metal.
big
That's
Y.
exactly right. The contact the radio ID list of all the digital is basically caller ID. Yes, and your radio will work without that. The list has grown more than most radios can hold, so you just got to
tried,
kind of
Aiden.
pick and choose which ones you put in there. But that's what that's used for. And if you don't add them to your digital contacts, it doesn't. You can't call them that way. Now you could manually put them in as a private call if you remembered somebody's contact info.
Their DMR ID.
Their DMR ID, right?
So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you use zones? That's
Zones.
that's another controversial topic.
Controversial. Zones are just a way to arrange your contacts so they make sense. So the way I do it is I have one zone that has my hotspot and the fire department channel in it that I use here, and I call it home or QTH or something. And then I have a separate zone that has just all digital contacts, and those are the ones that are set up to go to my hotspot here at the house. Then I have a separate zone with those same digital contacts, those same talk groups, in what's called the repeater zone. So if I'm out in town in Montgomery, Alabama, if you had that square, bingo. Then
It's actually Montgomery Fires, the square.
So if I have Toad's talk group and I'm using Toad's at home, that's a different frequency for the hotspot here. If I'm out in the truck and I'm using my DMR radio, that's a different frequency for the DMR repeater. So I can talk on all those different groups just by changing the zones. And you can make as many zones as you want. I mean, I'm sure there's an upper limit. It's probably 256 or 500 or something. Yeah, LC, that's actually brilliant, man. It's like a drawer. Yep.
He said draws. He said draws.
Draw.
They like draws.
Draws.
Like an old pair of draws.
Right. So it's just a way of arranging your contacts. And like I said, I arrange them by what frequency I'm going to talk to that contact on. Don, I am totally not surprised by that in any way.
I was biting my tongue on that one too, man.
Yeah. Don said he's got, what did he say was broken? He ain't fixed in 3 years yet. He just cooks
His
everything
oven.
on
He
his
says oven.
oven. Don just lives on a microwave and plastic plates.
Bachelor,
So here we go.
man.
Liberty Cave keeps his draws hanging in the closet.
Right next to his HTs.
Right. So when you set up a DMR radio, you put in your digital contacts. So Toads,
Oh no, I have people for that.
318-2093, America RC, America Link,
Yeah,
whatever, Alabama Link, whatever
Go get
talk
you one,
groups
Chuck.
you make.
think
Those
I
are your
will.
contacts.
What is America RC?
It's another nationwide
Hey,
chat
Chuck, we're
group.
on the bottom row. We can have our own conversation, and those two can have theirs above, and it'll be fine.
That's right. We can whisper.
Yeah, nobody will hear us.
Nobody. Look at Jim.
So
He didn't know what to
Shooter
do.
keeps his draws in a velvet Crown Royal bag.
Oh, I got a
There
bunch
you
of
go.
those.
Good thing he specified Crown Royal.
Right.
Right. I got a faded out one over here. I can show you.
You can
The
buy them
fake-
in bulk on Amazon.
Crown.
You don't even have to drink.
You can?
Yeah, Crown Royal bags on Amazon.
Don is right. An oven is $2,000. He can buy
They're
another radio or
expensive,
two
though.
for that. That's 2/3 of a flex or half of flex maybe.
Don, I got an
That's-
oven I can sell you.
The small flex is only like $2,400.
$100.
Yeah,
It's
but I don't think it comes
$1,900
with a
in
screen
shipping.
or power or
Well, no, you
anything.
still have to have your computer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You damn right.
That's where they
Hayden.
get you. That's where they get
Yeah.
you.
So DMR can be a little confusing, but Ape's done some videos on it. Steve's done some videos on it. I've done videos on it. There's
We
like
did-
4 basic steps to DMR, and then you're done.
I have not done any videos on D-Star or System Fusion.
So I guess we should.
Slacker.
Huh?
Not either.
So to me, everybody's like, System Fusion, so dang easy.
It
Yeah.
is.
Um,
Where'd he go?
he's probably talking to John. He probably put you
Or
on
he's
mute
gotta
because he's
pee.
talking to John.
He didn't put us on mute though, so we can hear everything he's saying.
Right, John, I got these MFs online. They're on the air right now. They're
Ape
asking
and Jim are
questions.
talking shite.
Look, I don't care whether it's right or not. You just tell them that I'm right because we're buds, right? You're gonna be on my side.
Fusion is stupid easy. It really is. Because the only thing that you have to do with Fusion is, what talk group do I want to go to? Type in the number. Boom.
But they're called
That's it.
they're called reflectors though, right? Not talk groups.
It doesn't matter. It's the same thing.
Same thing. Liberty,
It
wait
is
till
just-
tomorrow night when
that's
we do
another
Cafe
question for John.
Noir.
See here, this is okay for. Oh, that's
Yeah.
for tomorrow night. Coffee and hamburger. This has got coffee in it.
What is
There
what is the topic tomorrow night?
Handy talkies, right?
Yeah, I think so.
We're talking
Take that,
HGs tomorrow
Don.
night.
Take that, Don.
Yeah, so in our members only, if you are a member of the
That was
Smoking Apes
gold.
channel, or a member of my channel, or a member of Chuck. Oh, that's right. Chuck hasn't finished his memberships yet, have you, Chuck?
No, mine's
For
ready.
my channel.
Oh,
Mine's
okay.
ready.
Maybe you ought to ask John how to do that.
I don't
while
have
you're
any
at it.
members.
Jimmy, you got the
Nobody wants to
join
be a
button
member is
down
all.
below.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're
Yes,
a
I
member
do.
of any of the 4 of our channels, we do a monthly private off the internet. Well, it's on the internet, but it's off the public streaming services
Jesus.
chat, so we can talk about stuff that we don't talk about
Right.
here. And Jim has a fantastic story that he tells every single time we have our private members meeting. So be sure and tune in for that, because it gets better every time he tells it.
There's one story he tells that I do not like. Like it made me sick to my stomach, and
That
it
is
still
a
does if I
great
even think
story.
about it.
That is a great story.
Which one? They're all kind of like
I'm
that.
not. I don't even think about it.
So this is what you're missing. And on today was the day. So on today's show, Don came out of the Don came out and said he doesn't like HTs, and we offended Abe. Sorry, Abe.
Yeah, Don flat out. I think we asked him, "What do you guys want to talk about? What would you like us to do videos on?" Yeah, and Don was like, "HTs." Okay, thanks, Don. You might need to take some ibuprofen for tomorrow night, buddy. Oh, Lord.
Joe Brett, he needs
Yes,
to
I
get the
did
rest
get
of
it.
them cut because they don't match.
That's right. The curtain and the drapes match. I'm just saying.
I don't
okay?
need to know that.
Phil, thank you. See, at least somebody appreciates this. Where did Ape go? We're missing the ape dancing.
That's why he left. He's got faster internet.
He needs some milk.
Woo woo. So,
Thank you, Phil.
of the 3 major modes, I would say Fusion is probably the easiest.
Well, you don't have to sign up or anything for it.
Right.
So that part
Exactly.
makes it a little bit easier.
Exactly.
And did we ever get on D-Star that night? I don't know.
Yes, we did. We did.
Yeah,
we
we
used
did.
David Capello's server.
Yeah.
So where did it go? Where did it go? Liberty.
We were trying to use,
Here's the question. Liberty's saying, Abe, tell me where you live without telling me where you live. What's your favorite local convenience store? Because we don't have 7-Elevens out here.
I had to make water.
I told you to go before we started.
I did. I went before the last one. I went in
This
between
one's
before
made-
we started this one.
This one's made near Liberty's house right here. Black Butte,
Butte.
Porter, Bend, Oregon.
So Chuck is correct. The Fusion does not require any sign up at all. You just buy a Fusion radio, put it in Fusion mode, and you are digital voicing all day.
See,
D-Star requires you to register
The man wants you.
specifically.
And that's why I'm not going to use D-Star. That's how they get you with that
Yes,
register
yeah.
with your local club.
Oh my God!
See-
you don't have to, because I don't have a local club. I don't deal with my local club.
Would you register with a Kaneki club?
No, Cletus. I registered the National Registered D-Star Place thing, whatever. There's something that said, yeah, I Googled it. Man, I don't know. And I just registered there, and I'm good to go. D-Star, to use the reflector system, you have to be a registered user. Now, you can use D-Star Simplex totally without registering anything.
Registration's free, and if your local club doesn't
it
do
is.
it,
Yeah,
there's
it's
there's
free.
a national club you can join. It's
Yeah. Yeah,
it's an
not
extra
a big
hurdle
deal.
that they make you jump through that they shouldn't, but they do.
Right. And then DMR, you have to sign up for a DMR ID, similar to D-Star. D-Star uses your call sign. DMR assigns you a 7-digit number to use. And if you're in the United States, it's going to be
Tracking code is what they call it.
Right.
So
Abe's been on
that
DMR for so
3-1
long. His is
something.
only 4 digits.
Right.
So that might be a
Roman
little bit of
numerals.
the difference right there. Is Fusion, or I don't think they make you put your call sign in.
Yes, you
Oh.
You have to put it in the radio,
Hey,
and
what?
then it has it.
got to put it in the radio, Chuck.
Oh,
I think you got to put it in the radio.
I don't think you do.
I don't
think
know.
You have to
I
put
don't
it
know.
I
in.
can tell you my radio does not have a call sign in it because that's
Which radio's
how they
that?
get you.
in
My
the
705,
705
my 70D. It asked for it when I put it in.
Yeah,
I put
you
in
don't
all
have to put it
spaces.
in.
N0CAL.
KT0ADS.
I put all spaces in.
I don't know, Chuck. I just did because I'm compliant. It said enter call sign. I don't think it would let me get past the boot up screen without putting in a call sign. And I put in my real government one, not a made up one like Ape.
Hayden says he
don't know.
joined a committee to fix
Hayden.
his club rather than complain about it. And what we did instead was we just made another club.
So
Right.
right now they complain about Hayden.
Yeah, they complain about Hayden all the
So
time.
who's this Hayden guy?
They're
Jim
calling
does not
us
go to
all
club
the time.
meetings. I don't have a club. I'm not grouchy. Damn it,
Yes,
Joe
you
Brett.
are grouchy.
No, I'm not.
His tinfoil hat is under his ball cap.
Right,
That's
I'm a
why he
people
never takes it
person.
off.
I'm a people
Damn
person,
people
damn
person.
it.
That's
Hayden,
right.
Hayden's got those guys like this under his thumb. He's like, either do it my way or the Hayden way, or you don't.
They're
or you
probably
leave.
afraid Hayden's going to zap them with 10 gigahertz microwaves or something and
That's
make
right.
them all glow.
Oh, wait. Somebody
good.
wants to get back on topic. W9TSB Heavy Metal Ham Radio says, a DMR question. At work, we have 3 frequencies registered with the FCC. If we move to DMR, would we pretty much double our channels because of the 2 time slots?
Are you on a trunked system? I guess would be my first question.
Yeah.
And I'm just asking that to confuse everybody because it doesn't really mean anything. Now, I don't
if
think
they're
it
tier
would.
3, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it would double your channels because you would still use this. You would still use the same frequencies, but you would probably have more talk groups that you could speak on, right? So I guess technically it's more channels, but you would be able to use a different talk group for each time slot.
Yeah, he doesn't
Not-
have the
not
trunking
trunked.
system. But I guess what he's talking about is the TDMA, the time division multi-access.
Yeah. So that depends on how
See
your
you, Don.
DMR
Thanks.
radios are set up. If you're going through your own repeater, so typically what you see, and Don, jump in here. Oh, he's got to go.
He's leaving.
The second
Yeah,
you ask
I
him
mean,
a question,
darn.
he's
See ya,
out the
Don.
door.
I was going to tap his knowledge. So with a DMR repeater, they typically use both of the time slots. And my understanding is the standard is for time slot 1 is like local talk groups, which are usually 2 and 9.
Yeah, but in business, he's talking about businessman.
Yeah, and I don't know how they would set up a business band, but it's the same kind of deal. They're going to have some
But they-
talk groups on one time slot and some talk groups on the other kind of deal.
Yeah, on
right?
3 frequencies. I would imagine six talk groups is what they
Right.
could use.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't. They're all local in a business, I'd imagine.
Right.
But the thing what's really nice about trunk systems is you have a control frequency. So one of those 3 frequencies would be for your control. But then it transfers the talk group dynamically to whatever the least used frequency is. So like you might have one group that doesn't, only talks a few times a day, and you might have somebody else who talks all day long. So it would move those around, freeing up more so you can actually get more bandwidth out of your 3 frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
See
Which
you,
is
Derek.
what Derek, see you, buddy. Which is what they do. That's typically a lot of public safety systems have moved to the trunk stuff on
Yeah.
P25 usually. And XDN can also trunk, and then that's DMR tier 3 is the trunking on DMR.
Well, and I'm
See you,
not an
Derek.
expert on this one, but isn't there analog trunking as well? Like, doesn't Motorola
Yes.
have an analog trunking implementation?
Johnson and LTR, and that might be the same thing.
He
It's
said
old. I don't
Johnson.
remember. Yeah.
Nice, Chuck.
Our system here used to be an LTR trunk, I think, or Johnson trunk, or it might be Johnson was the company and LTR was what they called it, but it was analog. It was absolutely an analog trunk. And then the P25 system here, when they migrated it to digital, God, it's been 15 years or more. It used to be, originally it was the P25 system was analog, and then they migrated everything to digital. So yes, they can absolutely trunk analog and trunk digital. Yep.
Is that Crook calling you back, Chuck?
Yeah, I got to take this.
Make
Really,
it
is
put
that
them on
Croc?
big. Put
He's
them on
so
big
full.
screen.
That's the
Man, I
best
tell you,
Chuck's ever looked.
Chuck is influential. I got to give him that for being cantankerous, grouchy, opinionated.
You're talking about Jim or Chuck? I'm confused.
But I got to tell you, if I called Crook, if I text message him, he'd probably call the cops. I don't think that he would be calling me back that fast.
Croc could be like, "Who's this weirdo guy?" So Jeff says that he thinks Yaesu does require a call sign, and it is part of the digital transmission. So
See, there's some ambiguity around the rules of giving your call sign on the transmission, because some people say that even though you're on DMR, and DMR sends it, you still have to say it.
yep, that's what I've heard. I don't know. I just err on the side of
I will
caution.
die on that hill.
So Chuck, what is the story here?
He couldn't get back to me right now. He'll have to join us later at later.
Did you
date.
tell him that doesn't work for us?
You
Well,
tell him we only got 5 more minutes.
He hung
in here,
up. So
babe.
I mean, it must work.
He's probably like, these people are crazy. These people
He was
are
watching.
nuts.
He's like, I'm not getting into that.
LC's making. Listen, we're trying to stay on topic. Repeaters send
are
a
on
call
topic.
sign Morse all the time. So
Yeah, well, that's different though. You're allowed to do that.
well, how
Yeah.
is that different?
I've seen people do that. You get these OMs on like top band, and they start talking, and every so often you'll hear a CW call in the background.
Well, I think it's different because if you're
Interesting.
actually operating CW, you're not going to do a voice or a phone.
Right.
I hate calling it phone.
Phone,
But-
right?
Phone. But you're not gonna
Baltimore accent.
do that, right?
Phone,
You're not gonna-
phone home.
Call me.
You're gonna do that.
I was actually looking this stuff up, and it's off subject. A buddy of mine gave me this. It's called Polyfoam, 8U, and it's the most flexible stuff. It's 1583, but I can't find it.
How many ohms is this? Is it 50 or 75?
It's 50 ohm.
All the ohms.
I agree
you.
with you, James. I think there's no reason you shouldn't be able to ident with Morse code.
I don't know what kind it is, but I got some of this Mezione Poloni coax, and that thing's like about as round as a quarter. It's huge.
Phil,
I couldn't-
thank you.
Couldn't believe it.
Cue the music.
Ooh, cue the music. Music.
This is
cueing.
dancing time.
It is dancing time.
I
Take
guess
your
I have
time.
to stream more often.
Just, I mean, okay.
Here we go. It's a little slow. I like
Yeah,
a little bit
it's
more up-tempo
kinda
beat.
hard.
I don't know.
Need some milk.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate
Andy's
it,
here.
man. Well, it's about time he
Andy.
wasn't first. Andy, what? Andy,
It's a new
did
night.
You not
It's
get
a
the
new night.
memo?
It's a new night.
Hey, Rod, you slipped in here too. I didn't see that. The regs we were taught for the test say you must ID voice or CW regardless of the mode.
Sounds good.
Uh-oh,
We got
new
another
member.
new member, Ed.
Holy moly, Ed, thank you.
Play something with a little bit more. There we go.
There we go.
Everybody got an opinion.
He needs some milk.
Woo! Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.
Both of y'all fellers.
Yes.
Both of y'all fellers.
What was the hour-long stream? We talked about DMR for
Uh-oh.
about 8 minutes. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Talked about
And D-Star, and y'all are all afraid of D-Star.
my D-Star's
Well-
in the car where it belongs.
Do you use it though, T.O.? Do you, or are you just talking mess?
There's no. I don't use it. There's no D-Star repeaters around here, and
Right.
I don't have a D-Star hotspot, so I got to take it out of radio mode and put it into terminal mode, and it's a pain.
Which is a giant pain in the butt.
I don't like
Yes.
talking to people anyway.
Right.
Right.
You ain't got time for that.
I talk to people all day at work.
Ain't
When we come
nobody
home
got
and talk
time
to
for that.
people for.
Well, see, the beauty of talking digital is if you get tired of talking to people, you just tell them, hey, my battery's dying in my HT. I got to go.
Ooh. Ooh, good
Listen, I don't know if I
Right.
told you boys that, but
Never
that's how
thought
I
of
answer
that,
my
did
cell
ya?
phone. Whenever I answer my cell phone, I'm like, hey,
That's right.
hey, my battery's dying, so in case it cuts out. And when somebody starts belly aching, I'm like,
Nice.
That's right. That's how I begin
Right, I'm
every
like,
phone
"Oh."
call. That's right. The kid's mom is
Spiel.
calling. Hey, the phone's dying. Hurry up.
right, start splaining
You're
quick.
breaking up.
That's right. Ooh, Dusty, you're right. Steve and I agree with that too. And I'm
Exactly.
pretty sure Ape is on that. We don't want to talk to people. We just want to play ham radio.
My favorite thing about FT8 is pskreporter.info.
Right.
My favorite thing about CW is reversebeacon.net.
So D-Star is kind of a weird thing to wrap your head around because of the way they do it. You have a to and a from, and the way it's implemented is just a little hard to figure out. And once you get it working, and honestly, I'll be truthful here. Programming your radio is 95% of the battle. Because holy crap, if you're off by one character, the whole thing doesn't work at all, randomly. And
kind of like ToadNet.
So
that was
this
just
is funny.
ugly, man.
I programmed this radio live on stream with Jim looking over my shoulder to make sure that I did it right. And the JerryNet reflector is what comes up when I punch in Toads because we picked the wrong contact. It's not easy. So it says JerryNet, and if I key up, it'll go up wrong side. Turn off my lights. There we go.
Did you just key up to JerryNet?
It'll go into JerryNet, and then if I
you ain't
change
keying
that,
up here.
no,
Wait,
if I change it
now-
to Toads,
Dennis just woke up.
it goes to JerryNet also.
Yep, he was
What?
probably
When you're
probably
doing
a-
that,
Oh,
can
I know
hear-
what you did. I
Yeah.
know what you
I can
did.
hear that coming over your microphone.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear
little,
that?
Little RFI
Over his
there.
internet, probably. Yeah, I hear it. He was doing a lot earlier. Didn't you hear him? Hey, John's going to come on. I think if I gave him
Is
the
he?
right
Well, I can
thing.
stay. I mean, I'm fine. M17 is a new protocol. It's not widely used. None of the radio manufacturers have picked it up, as far as I know. You have to kind of roll your own.
And this, can you?
There's
can
a
you really-
TYT radio you can modify, I believe.
Yeah.
They've
you
got
cut the
instructions for it. I
resistor.
think
You
it's
cut the resistor
TYT.
out.
Can you use the
It sounds like a lightsaber.
Fang 1801s? I think.
Every Jedi builds his own lightsaber.
Oh, hey, Chuck's here.
I was just
Oh
making.
Lord, why do we have two Chucks?
This is awesome.
Twice
Chuck,
as much
Chuck in
Chuck.
stereo.
Did you send?
And he
Chuck
still
the
doesn't
link,
move.
Chuck?
Right, he sent himself the link.
He
Send
must
myself
have.
the link.
Oh my God.
No, I was making sure I sent him the right link. It's been a long time since I've done this.
He's tested. He tested.
Yes,
I
you
was
did.
testing it.
Wow.
There he
Oh
is.
boy, here
Oh,
we
there's
go.
John.
Johnny!
He had to get
John.
a shirt on.
Looking all
Where's
official.
that shirt?
Oh,
Yeah,
he
well-
must have been. You must have been out on the job tonight, brother.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, I am tonight. I was just finishing a delicious Popeye's chicken. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
They
You
have
were
the
eating
best
it in the
chicken
truck,
sandwich.
right? You
Popeyes
didn't go
around
in
here,
and sit
John.
down like normal people, right?
Yeah, there's a Popeyes in Hudson,
Oh,
Wisconsin.
yeah, that's a drive.
Yeah, never ask a fat man if he knows where food places at.
That's right. That's right,
The-
brother.
The Popeyes
Especially
spicy
chicken.
chicken sandwich is the hands down best chicken sandwich that
Yes.
you can get these days.
It's better
It
than
is.
the Lord's chicken.
I don't
is
care
better
who you
than
ask,
the
that
Lord's
is a good
chicken.
sandwich, and it's a nice cut of chicken too. It's not some skimpy cut.
It's even better. It's even better than Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Sure.
That's what I
No.
said. That's the Lord's chicken, John.
That's a-
Yes, I said
that's
it's
a
better
holy
than the
war
Lord's
argument
chicken.
right there.
No. I agree with him. I'm not a huge fan of Chick-fil-A.
Liberty's saying we'll get accurate info because we had twice the Chuck on the stream before the Cruck came. Oh, wow, that's a mouthful.
You need to watch what you're saying.
Yep, I'm done.
You're gonna say a bad word. For a while, we
Ask
had
him your
twice the
questions.
Chuck and half the price. So, John, we were.
John,
Or-
I'm sorry we're wasting your time like that.
That's.
Hey,
I'm
John,
trying
I
to be
just want-
serious.
I just wanted to say one thing, John. You make me look good, buddy.
I mean,
John, I want to say thank you for coming on my channel to answer this foolishness. So
Sure.
what we were pontificating is with.
oh, hey.
That's right. I spelled it right last night too, man.
You did spell
Yes,
it right last night.
he
And I
did.
have two P25 radios and an NXDN. So with
Flex.
with System Fusion,
Mhm.
with an FT5D, let's use it as an example.
Yep.
Or a 991A.
Mhm.
Can you? So like for example, I can talk to my hotspot with my FT5D without hitting the little wires X button, and it talks to everything it normally talks to, the Toads digital network, right? Our D-Star crossover and our DMR crossover. Or I can hit the button and it still talks to the same stuff. So is that analog C4FM and digital C4FM? What's the difference? Because
So C4FM is just all digital.
Okay.
What it is so this is actually I was actually talking to people about this today, which is kind of an interesting thing that it kind of happened on here. So what it is that when Wires X was kind of crafted, it was designed, and I use Wires X in this example because like the hotspots and the linking and stuff like that are really kind of based off of the Wires X concept on there. Wires X, a lot of the hotspot stuff copy it on there. What it is that the nice thing about digital is it can handshake and you can control. So just like on hotspots,
Okay.
you have that ability when you push that quote unquote the wires X button, you're actually sending like basically a sync packet or a control packet to kind of saying, hey, here I am. Can I pull data from you? Also pull that information. So when you are using Fusion Radio, whether you're talking in a hotspot, wires X, or repeater, whatever, you can just talk normally. There's no need to actually do the proverbial handshake on there.
So what does doing the handshake do for you? Then just gives you the ability to control the repeater, the hotspot.
Correct. Yep.
Kind of thing. Okay.
Yep. So what it is that that when you push that wires X button, you see it will actually switch over to what they call DW mode, which is data wide, which is basically just running C4 FM in that full 12.5 kilohertz bandwidth space.
Okay.
And then it's basically sending a sync packet out there saying, hi, is there anything that I can talk to request info back on? And then if that happens and there is something that can respond back, that's when you get that, what I call the little Addams family theme, that do.
Yep.
And then it appears like on your radio, and then you are like remotely controlling it because you did that handshake on there.
Okay. So it's digital either way.
Correct. It's digital either way.
Jim was claiming that he was getting analog C4 FM to his HT.
I didn't understand. I thought that's what that button did, was made it go digital. I didn't understand. I was
We'll
wrong. I was
penance.
wrong.
We'll talk
I was
about
wrong.
penance later.
I was wrong.
But on some radios, it is the mode selection button as well as the wires X button, and on other radios, it's just the mode selection button, and then there's a separate wires X button. So it kind of determines, like I said, it depends on which kind of radio you have. So on the 5, I believe it is. I believe
that
that's
little
X
little red button. Yep. And the 70D, I think you have to hit function AMS or something like that.
Yeah, because as a matter of fact, the 70 never had it. It was the 70 was never going to be able to control it, and then we had people literally calling us and saying, hey, I would like to be able to control it. So the engineers in Japan did their thing that they get paid a lot of money for, and they added it.
We had one more question. So we were talking about wires X and the difference between wires X and system fusion. And I said something that may have been incorrect, where I was saying that wires X is actually FM analog. It's not a digital mode per se. The digital portion of that is C4 FM, but I don't know 100% if I was right on that or not.
Did you wave?
Yeah, so really kind of it's wires X is unique in that it's actually both in all reality. So
Hands above the table, Chuck.
What it does is it takes
my Judy doll.
C4FM and it takes analog, and at the kind of the network layer, it kind of actually can cross the two together. So that's why, like, when you need to host a room on wires X, you have to have an HRI 200, because what that literally is doing is it's taking that signal in, and then it's processing two streams. It's processing an analog stream and it's processing a digital C4FM stream. And then that goes out into the room. So you are actually, for example, if you host a room, what's happening is that signal is coming in and it's actually dividing it into two signals. And then the analog users pull off the analog signal. Digital users will pull off that digital stream. That's why Wires X is kind of a unique network in itself.
So when you're hosting a Wires X room, then that means that a user could use something that's not a Yaesu radio to connect to the analog stream on a Wires X room.
Oh yes.
Like a Fang? What?
I know. Shocking. I know.
I was trying to explain that to Jim, but he wouldn't listen.
So what happens is if you think of it's like a giant ball, a giant room in there, and the way I've made kind of explanations is like, think of half the people in the room have hats on, and then the other half have no hats on, right? Well, guess what? You were coming in there, and you could take your hat on and off as much as you want, or you could actually go ahead and talk to people with hats, or you could talk to people without hats. And that's how that HRI 200 works and why it's such a vital component. In addition, that's why, which a lot of people sometimes don't realize, when you set up a Wires X node, you need to open up all these ports. And I hear people say all the time, why is this? Why is this? Because in essence, you are creating your own server for Wires X. Your computer and your HRI 200 act as a server, and everybody that connects to your room is literally connecting directly to your IP address.
Okay.
Jim. So take that, Jim.
Oh yeah, like you even knew his explanation actually made sense. Your explanation was like Punkin explaining it. I was like, what is he talking
No,
about?
Punkin.
I explained it just fine.
Not
and then
everybody
you're all
knows who
like-
Punkin is.
So we had to summons the Kruk.
John, that is actually the best explanation because I didn't know that about the two streams. I knew there was some sort of analog Yaesu thing with Fusion, but I thought it was Fusion had two pieces, so it's not really Fusion.
No, it's not, and that's kind of the neat part about how Wires X operates in and of itself. And because of the way that it does all that kind of servering and stuff like that, it's another reason why, believe it or not, and I just had to explain this literally to a customer today of why the Wires X network is kind of closed in and of itself is because you could see with so many ins and outs and everything like that, you could actually, and this is why we have to do it this way, you could actually turn it into a business network. If you really think about it, you could actually go and make it say like, you know, hey, you could pump radio traffic into there. And if it wasn't regulated, it wasn't locked down, there'd be easy ways to people to do it. I mean, I hate to say it, and I don't know if anybody's actually watching it or anything like that. I know of 2 people that are using Brandmeister for business purposes.
Which is
Not supposed to be doing that.
Exactly.
a bad thing.
Exactly, because they're running through it. Now I'm not going to get into Brandmeister versus Wires X versus
That could be a
Open
penis
Spot.
smacking
please,
if they
please,
get caught.
please do.
Yeah, it would be horrible. But no, that's one of the reasons why the system is locked down so tight. Plus, also too, is that information is kind of we keep it kind of private because in essence, if you think about it, it's literally a centralized, decentralized system. So when you take Wires X, you turn it on, whether you're using PDN or, you know, where it's the radio directly connected to the computer with a cable or the HRI 200, you're calling out to the network and the network is saying, oh, hey, you can be on here. You could do this. That's the centralized part. But then when you go decentralized, that's when, you know, hey, you're connecting into my room. You're actually going from your internet connection to my direct IP connection. Right. And the server is just telling you through the alias that, hey, this room number, you know, like my room number 21667, that is actually now at this point in time going to this IP address. So that's why we also keep it locked down tight.
Now with a Wires X room, yours is 21667.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm here on a hotspot with an FT5. I can't connect to 21667.
Natively, no.
Unless there's a bridge. Right.
Unless there's a bridge. And I used to have my bridge open because I have an FCS reflector on there. And you're right, Chuck, there is. And that's part of that whole keeping the continuity of the network. And we actually on the Wires X network, you look at our radios, and this might be going a little bit more too deep, but our radios will do a 2.5 to 3% bit error rate for usable signal. So by having that standard with our radios, then we know. The drawback to hotspots, and I got a whole box of hotspots literally sitting next to me here, but the problem with the hotspots is that they don't have any sort of threshold for bit error rate cutoffs. So if you're pumping like that on the show that day, you know, unfortunately somehow 9% bit error rate was coming through. Well, that's totally an unreadable signal.
Right. Okay. So on the YSF room, so that's kind of basically the Wild Wild West then, compared to Wires X. Correct.
So yeah, and that was the thing, was YSF and FCS reflectors were really kind of born out of, and a lot of people disagree on this. This is like a left Twix, right Twix kind of thing. But a lot of people disagree. They're like, no, it wasn't done that way and stuff. But it was kind of for the mentality of how, like when D-Star started out, everything was a reflector. Okay.
Right.
Because let's face it, of all the amateur digital modes, D-Star was out first. Then System Fusion came along. But what happened was that it was a design concept of a reflector. And basically it was an audio server. That's really what D-Star is an audio server. And then you just named the reflectors based on its name, based on which channelization of the audio you wanted to go on, right? So when Fusion came along, I kind of related to like the AOL kind of thing, you know, like you've got mail, so you have instant message, which is node to node, or you have the group, like you have the group chat, and that was the room concept. So in that case, that's what happened and everything like that on there. And some people got really confused on there, and people are saying, well, no, I don't want it to operate this way. I want it to be reflector based. And then that's where they came up with the FCS and YSF reflectors. The biggest difference between the two is FCS is a fusion connection server, and they have certain, I think there's like 7 now servers I think there's out there right now on there, but those are actual servers sitting out there that people can claim a space on for fusion.
Okay.
Where YSF is literally people like buying.
Yeah, it's totally
space
distributed.
or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like GeoCities for Yesu. Just
Kind of. It's kind of that. That's an old reference. I'm not sure how many people are going to
old
get
guy.
that.
What can I say?
But yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Cool. John, we are kind of over time already. I thank you so much for coming on and explaining that. Ape was getting a little persnickety with me, and I was getting a little. I'm like, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but we gonna.
If we could have SmackDown online here, we would have had a SmackDown.
Right.
I want to see if John
Tio and
dances.
Chuck were upset.
I want to see if John dances. Does John
Oh,
dance?
a super chat. Hit it.
That's all I can do.
He needs some milk.
I gotta say, John's camera stuff. You know, I'm a camera guy, and your background looks awesome. You've got that. I don't know what you're using for a camera, but it looks like you got like a.
You do need to work on the shine up top. I'm going to say that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's why Chuck's always wearing a hat.
I had to put my hat on earlier, man, because it was like throwing my camera off.
Well, I got new lighting, and these are the cameras. They're called Mevos. They're like little.
Oh, it's those.
Yep, it's the little Mevo cameras. That's,
okay.
That's what I use for the camera there. But the sad part about it is you can see it goes too wide. So I gotta work on that now.
All you gotta do is move those curtains. Move those curtains out a little bit.
Well, then you're gonna see the side. I gotta move the whole screen forward. I just gotta have the screen on top of me.
That's why this is here to hide what's really behind the screen.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to have to clean that up every time we're doing this, and I don't want y'all to know.
You guys, fortunately for me, you guys can't see below and behind around me.
Yeah, tell me about it.
We're thankful. We are thankful of that, Charles.
Well, those are Logitech Mimos, you said? Mevos, M-I-V-O?
No. Mevo, M-E-V-O. Mevo.
M-E-V-O. Oh, so close.
That's the company. That's the company, isn't it?
That's the name of the company and the camera. They're I got a 3-pack on them, and they're nice. They can connect to Wi-Fi. They got a little SD card slot in there too, so you literally can just set it up there. You can control it with your phone. You can hook it to your computer to actually have it as a webcam like this. They're all over the thing.
I started using
that background looks good.
It does. That's okay. I'm sorry, Chuck. I've been using Camo Studio, which is an app for iPhone and Windows and Mac, and it so I'm using my phone, iPhone 13 Pro Max, as the camera, and then feeding that into OBS.
We got to talk about the GD88.
Oh, what do we got to talk about?
Let's talk about it.
I was just using it for camera focus.
I don't know about yours, but mine is a half dud.
What?
I don't know what it is.
Which
like
half?
Like the channel selector knob, I have 8 clicks, and then there's no clicks, and then there's a lot of little maybe nuances. Maybe I got like serial number 1 and something. I don't know.
Prototype.
I don't know. I just was a little disappointed in it.
Jason Ham Radio 2.0 was saying his didn't do audio out, but I don't know if he fixed that or not. You had to go into the code plug software and change the mic gain in the code plug software. I don't know if you ever got it fixed.
Yeah, I remember us doing that with yours because it was not working real well until you got that fixed.
One other thing I found out was like the keypad was unlocked, and anytime I was entering a certain frequency, and yes, it was in the business band because I wanted to try it out for business purposes kind of deal, see how that works. I would enter
which you're licensed for.
Which
We're
I'm
not
licensed for,
judging,
yes. But I went along and I would enter a 2.5 kilohertz step, and it would completely throw it to a completely different frequency.
Weird.
And it was only
so
when
they
I
got the
programmed
step.
it by CPS.
That's weird. So
Yeah.
they've got the step tied to a certain band or something like that.
No, it wasn't even that. It was like 2425 was the last 4 digits, and I'd enter 2425 and it would go to like 2490, and I couldn't change. I mean, it was just weird. It was these little weird nuances. So
I don't have one. I know when we were at Huntsville, Steve and I did want to throw it on the spectrum analyzer, but we never
Never got a chance
got that to
so
happen.
much stuff
Yeah.
going on in Huntsville.
There was a lot going on.
It was fun.
We got to mess with that QRZ1, which is a nice
how's
little
that?
radio.
It's TYT UV88, I think.
Yeah,
is that what it
that's
is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was clean and it worked really well. I
Yeah.
was on top of a mountain, so there's that. But I made a contact that was over 50 miles on 5 watts with the rubber duck. So
Not bad.
That's
Right.
not bad.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out really well. And super nice radio for what they're doing with it. I thought was, jam up through QRZ.
that's the part
As
that makes it awesome.
Right. Right.
It's
I
not
was
a
just
Baofeng.
what? Didn't
And it's
see
free
that
for new
coming.
hams.
Right. All right, guys. Well, it's
All right.
20 after 8. We need to go. John, thank you again, man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks,
it,
John.
dude.
Yeah, no problem.
Um,
You luckily, I just had checked my emails and I saw Chuck's thing, and I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, that's why I replied back. I'm like, oh, I'm still here. Sorry, about 20 minutes late, but
No worries.
No, actually, you were pretty
No
close.
worries. Yeah, the timing worked out fine.
cool.
Timing worked out fine. Guys, thank you all for being here
Thanks,
tonight.
everybody.
Thanks, John Kruk, for being here. Appreciate it.
No problem.
And Ape and I still love each other. We weren't actually arguing. We're
Yeah,
just
whatever.
discussing. See you guys. Bye.
See ya.
See you guys.
See ya.